Have you been ever wondering why things are happening to you in your life? Or have you been saying, you know, I've been planning and expecting this and it didn't happen and it was completely opposite? And sometimes you might have thought even, this is a real obstacle, this is real pain, and this is really hard for me in my life. Is that the description? Is that the feeling that you come up with? You know, in the Bible we have a lot of examples of people who have gone through so-called setbacks in their lives, and yet God has helped them to transform those setbacks into victories in their lives. Joseph comes to mind. You know, when he was 17, he was sold into slavery. Then when he was in slavery, he was wrongly accused and went up in jail, and then ended up eventually becoming the prime minister of Egypt. God had a purpose all along for him. And there came a time when his brothers came to Egypt and they realized he was the prime minister. They realized they sold him into slavery. And now they were really upset and afraid. And in chapter 50 of Genesis, verse 20, he speaks to them. And he says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today." As for you, but God. It's so important that when you and I go through our life situations, whether it is at work, at home in our marriages, with our children, with our health, or whatever situation we are in school, in our neighborhood, with our families, that we can, yes, recognize the other people, but also have an eye to see but God. There is God in this relationship, there is God in this situation, and He has a different purpose for us. Actually, when you take Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, we can find a powerful verse and promise of God for you and me. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for wholeness and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Those are the plans that God has for you and He has for me. He wants to bless us and not do us harm. So if we would just develop a vision and an insight and an understanding that no matter what is happening around us, there is God in our situation. And He wants to help us not only come through it, but overcome whatever obstacle there is, whatever difficulty there is. He wants to be there walking with us. There is a wonderful poem called Footprints. And a man went to be with the Lord, and then they were going through their lives, looking through his life, looking back how life happened to him. And he said, "You know, God, this is when I accepted you. I was so happy. I was so excited. Things were working in my favor, and this is where I had lots of joy. You blessed me here. I prayed. You answered." But look at this situation. You know, it's like a footprints on the sand. Whenever there were two footprints, I was happy. But there was a time when there was only one set of footprints. And I prayed, and I didn't get the answer. And I was seeking you, and like you were nowhere to be found. You see, there's only one set of footprints in the sand, God. You left me at the most critical moments in my life, when it was the most difficult for me. I felt like you were not there. And I can see there is only one set of footprints. And the poem goes on and says, "My child, the fact that you see only one set of footprints is not because I left you, not because you walked alone, but I really carried you. Those footsteps are mine. I've always been with you, and I have never left you." So Joseph was able to see in every situation, in every difficulty, when he was sold into slavery, when he was wrongly accused, whatever happened to him, he was able to see the hand of God, and the blessing of God stayed upon him as a result. Wherever he went, he said, "God's blessing is with me today. God has blessed me. He has a wonderful future for me. He wants to do me good and no harm." He didn't allow what other people were doing to him to sink into his heart and to determine his future. He was playing and dancing according to different music from above. Through his word, he learned, through his spirit, he learned that there is a different reality, a spiritual reality that dictates and directs our lives. So he determined to see his life from divine perspective. I want to encourage you, if you go through a difficulty, please don't forget that God is there for you. God wants to help you. He wants to hear your cries, and he wants to bless you.